In April 2025, President Trump declared a national emergency over America's trade deficits and launched a new system called the Reciprocal Tariff. It set a 10% baseline tax on nearly all imports, but for countries with big trade surpluses, the rates shot up, sometimes over 40 or even 50%. Even close allies like the European Union and Japan were hit with tariffs above 20%. This was a dramatic break from decades of free trade. But did it actually help the US, or did it backfire? That's the question we'll explore in this video. Let's begin. Before we dive into the main debate, let's first understand what the policy is and how it works. The reciprocal tariff applies a flat 10% tax on nearly all imported goods. Then, based on America's trade imbalance with each country, higher rates are added. So no matter where products came from, whether clothes, electronics, or machinery, tariffs were waiting at America's border. After this policy was implemented, the immediate effects were felt inside the United States. Importers saw costs rise on everything from clothing and electronics to cars and raw materials. Those costs quickly passed on to consumers, adding new pressure to inflation. At the same time, foreign governments responded with counter-tariffs. Key U.S. exports, soybeans, whiskey, cars, and machinery, faced barriers abroad. For example, China slashed purchases of American soybeans, forcing U.S. farmers to store unsold crops or sell at steep losses, a repeat of what happened during earlier trade wars. This meant American farmers and manufacturers started losing competitiveness in global markets, while ordinary Americans paid more at home. The policy also sparked diplomatic backlash. Traditional allies like Canada, Europe, and Australia condemned the move, calling it damaging and unfair. The European Union announced billions in retaliatory tariffs against U.S. goods. But the bigger shift came from Asia. India, angered by steep tariffs, began restoring relations with China and deepening trade with Russia, especially through energy deals. This unexpected alignment strengthened the role of BRICS, the economic bloc of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and other members of this community. In other words, instead of isolating rivals, the U.S. may have unintentionally pushed them closer together. Back at home, Trump's tariff plan faced legal hurdles. In May 2025, the U.S. Court of International Trade ruled that parts of the tariffs exceeded presidential emergency powers, creating major uncertainty. Meanwhile, critics argued that the policy was effectively a hidden tax on American consumers and a diplomatic self-goal. Supporters countered that tariffs protect U.S. industries, level the playing field, and give America leverage to force better deals with trading partners. This divide made the reciprocal tariff not only an economic gamble but also a deeply political one. So is the policy backfiring? Economists point to rising costs, supply chain disruptions, and strained alliances as clear warning signs. U.S. exporters are losing ground, while competitors like China are building stronger ties with countries that feel targeted. On the other hand, Trump's team argues the strategy is working, that countries are now negotiating trade concessions, and America is finally using its market power to demand reciprocity. The reality is more complex. In the short term, pain is being felt by both sides, but the long-term outcome will depend on whether new trade deals emerge. In the end, Trump's reciprocal tariff is one of the boldest experiments in U.S. trade policy in decades. But whether it becomes a victory for American leverage or a case study in economic backfire is still unfolding. What do you think? Is this tough stance the right move? Or is it costing the U.S. more than it gains? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into global events.